People of the Purple Butterfly here, otherwise known as People at 7 on Twitter and YouTube, People at elsewhere on the internet. My soaps located PurpleButterfly-Soaps.myshopify.com, my blog, PurpleButterfly-People.blogspot.com. And today I'm going to make some charcoal soap, and it's going to be cold processed, so it can be ready this same day. I'm starting with a 16-ounce container of lard. There will be 16 ounces of soybean and 16 ounces of olive oil. Yep. Because a 3 base is just easier to deal with when it comes to measurements. I already got my lye water mixed up. It's still hot. But since it's going to be a cooked soap, it's not going to matter if the lye is hot or not, because it's going to be cooked. I have my crock pot, my small one, in the sink, because this recipe has been known to volcano, and if it does, the sink can catch it instead of trying to clean up everything as hot raw soap is, spewing everywhere. If you experience that once, you automatically take precautions for the next time. But I know this recipe well, and that can be an issue. Usually, the lard peels right off the paper with no issue, but today is trying to be stubborn. Okay, there we go. I keep my lard in the freezer because lard is very much like coconut oil. When the temperature inside the house gets a certain temperature, it will melt. My coconut oil literally is liquid right now because it's 76 degrees inside my apartment, even though the air conditioner is on, because it's taking a minute to catch up to the 72 I have it set at. Well, lard that comes in a paper wrapper, in a cardboard container, when that melts, it compromises the measurements, because if some of it melts, instead of 16 ounces, you might have 15 or 14 left in the package. And if your measurements for a particular item is based on how much you have, and it's not the amount it's supposed to be, that causes issues. Plus, it's annoying trying to clean up melted lard, so I just don't deal with that. In the meantime, let's get the soybean in the works. 16 ounces of that. And by soybean, I mean Crisco. Crisco is palm oil and soybean mixed together. And for some odd reason, you can't get palm oil at Kroger's anymore. And I'm not going to special order palm oil when I need it today. So I'm just going to go with the next best thing, which is the Crisco. Don't get me wrong, I'll still special order palm oil, but this is a soap that was requested yesterday. They said, "Do you have?" And I said, "Yes." And then I looked, and I'm completely out of this particular soap, so it's time to make a new batch. 12, 14, and now it's time to buy more Crisco too. 16 exactly. Wow. That almost never happens. Usually it's a a little more, a little less, and then you have to add and subtract until you get the exact measurement, but boom, it just popped up right there at the 16 mark. Okay, let's put this away. Let's tear, and then we will pour 16 ounces of olive oil in here. $16.10. Well, that'll be super fatting because I'm not going to scoop out a teaspoon. And then we have activated charcoal made from hardwood, well, American hardwood trees, but this is activated hardwood charcoal. I'm going to put this in here as well. It's the main ingredient. It is not for scent, it's not for color, this time is for the attributes of charcoal. I have used charcoal to add color, like in the animalistic instinct. The black in there is strictly charcoal, but that was to add scent. This is for the goodness it imparts on the face. I'm gonna use a whole tablespoon of it. In other words, this soap is gonna be black. I could add different colors to it, but yeah, when people want charcoal soap, they're not looking for a swirl or a color combo. They just want a black soap called charcoal. Okay. And see, normally this is when you would melt the soaps, melt the oils rather. But since this is a cooked soap, I don't have to melt it in the microwave. I'm just gonna melt it right in the crock pot. I could even put the lye in it right now and do a heat transfer, which will melt it quicker. But I'm going to at least start it and then add the lye. Okay. Because quite frankly, I like when all the oils are in a melted stage before I add the lye water to it. It's not necessary, it's just my preference. Okay. But that's how it's looking. Charcoal, basically, with the exception of the deep dark black color, says nothing to see here. My back is hurting, and that's happening more often than usual, so I'm thinking maybe I need to drink a little more water, just in case it's a kidney thing. It's definitely not the way I slept, because I slept like the dead. The grandson is at his mom's house, and I was alone, so it was early, and I laid down and went, and I stayed like that till 11 o'clock this morning. So, yeah. it just occurred to me, I don't know the last time I had water, so that could be the whole issue. I have coffee. I've had 2 cups of coffee today already. I have that peach mango green tea, but technically that's tea, that's not water. So yeah, here's to keeping hydrated. Go get you some water too. Mm. And I know that's kind of rude, but if I stopped drinking the water when I felt the urge to stop drinking it, then yeah, I will still be not enough water. So I figured chug the rest of it, that'll get rid of it. And there's a slippery spot, which means some of the lard got on the floor. So give me one moment. Excuse me. This time I have Dawn dish soap and bleach in here. When I was using the Mr. Clean, which actually says no rinse formula, it was leaving kind of a film on the floor. And I mean, the floor was clean, it smelled good, but it was leaving this film that if you walk around enough, you know, you get this sticky residue on the bottom of your shoes, and then you have to mop that up. It's like, if that's what they call clean, I'll stick to my Dawn and bleach. Then it really is clean and no residue. Okay, let's spin that around a couple times. I can feel it getting hot, but I want it to be melted. Or at least making a dent in this block of lard. Yeah. The only problem I have with making a charcoal soap is my crock pot, the ceramic base is black and the charcoal is black, so basically you almost can't see it. When you stir it, you could tell that there's something there, but it's literally the exact same color. Actually, I think all of my crock pots have that issue. Yeah, they're all black. I once had a crock pot that the ceramic bowl was white. Loved that thing. But my daughter needed it, so I gave it to her. And the other two looks like this, only bigger. Allow me to explain. This part is black. And the contents of the soap I'm making is the exact same midnight black. So, yeah. I see bubbles coming up though because it's heating up and melting away the lard. But before I have a splash, let's put that back in the sink there. Yeah. I should call this video "Nothing to See Here," because basically it's nothing to see. It's like when I make the turmeric soap. Basically it's one color, is the same process, is not a real, shall we say, entertaining watch. There's no swirl, there's just a basic, hey, we're making soap thing, and it all is one color, no swirl, no nothing. Although turmeric soap smells amazing. Okay. aids in the melting process. So, yeah. And my lye water is now clear. Oh, that's another thing. If you ever make lye soap and you're new to the process, when you measure your water and you measure your lye, do not pour the water into the lye. That will be volcanic. The lye will go everywhere. It reacts violently that way. What you do instead is you measure the water, you measure your lye, you pour the lye into the water. It sinks to the bottom without the and then you stir it, it becomes cloudy. You wait approximately 5-10 minutes. Stir it a couple of times more if you want, but when it becomes clear, then it's ready. Do not use the lye while it's still cloudy. See, that's clear. That's what you want. You want it to be clear. When it's cloudy, it looks almost like milk, and it's hot. That's not when you use it. Wait. When it becomes clear, you can use it for a hot process or cold process. When I'm using it for a cold process, I'll let it cool down for the whole day. Lye will stay active for 24, 48, 72 hours, depending on how much you mixed up and your recipe. So I've been known to make my lye water a day ahead and go ahead and make my soap because I have a 48-hour window in which to do that. I gotta sneeze, hold on. Oh, goodness. That's a sloppy sneeze. Excuse me, I gotta get some tissue. Sorry about that, life happened. And as you know, I don't edit, so the closest I come to editing would be to take one video and meld it to another video, but I don't chop off whatever happens in the video because, well, first of all, that's a lot of work, even though I have the technology to do so. And I don't feel like it's the most honest way to put out a video, because if I'm documenting my life or my process when I make soap or whatever, to chop up, the stuff that you need to see, that's not fair. And to chop out something just because my ego says so, that's not fair either. Okay. Love this fillet knife. It slices through frozen lard. As in, it sliced through it. So those pieces will become smaller pieces, and that will make the melting go a lot faster. Now I might turn off the camera or pause it so that way we can shortcut the part where you're just literally sitting here waiting for oil and lard and shortening the melt, but yeah, you won't miss anything in that because basically all we're doing is sitting here waiting for heat to take over stuff. Cut that into really small pieces. I'm going to let that melt. Then I'll bring you back so I can put the lye with the oils, blend it into a soap, and let you see that process. But in the meantime, while we're waiting, I'm going to go fill my lungs with filthy dark air. And I'll bring you back. This has been Peepla. Apparently, I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so phone call came in and the video cut off. But I added a little more charcoal, and now it's really black. Hasn't reached trace yet. And I just remember this has a high button. That's go faster. I didn't know if it kept the trace quicker. Lack of oils is really pretty. I think I'm gonna take a picture of that. Hold on a second. Let's take you with. That's what we're doing. Now, let me take a picture of that right quick. Okay, make sure I can see. And then hit the camera button. And I think I got a couple of shots of that, but it's kind of hard to tell with the camera facing this way and trying to guesstimate where the button is. But currently in record mode, I can't flip the camera, so basically it's a guess. One of the residents here added to my video collection. By that I mean they put it on the exit table, and basically we sorted through whatever videos we wanted and took them home. And I came across this one called A Million Ways to Die in the West. I'm not even done watching it, but it's the funniest movie I've seen in a while. A couple of the videos I didn't like, I put right back on the exit table so somebody else can enjoy the selection. So yeah, that's how we do things here. That's like yesterday, somebody put a large, gorgeous, quilted blue comforter on the exit table. I picked it up and looked at it, inspected it. It had a hole about this big and a couple of frayed edges. Took me 2 minutes to fix that on my sewing machine. Threw it in the wash. Slept with it last night. That is the fluffiest, softest blanket I have used in a long time. And I make quilts, and I haven't made one that soft. That's kind of how we recycle things here instead of just throwing stuff away. Nobody wants to just throw stuff away. It could be recycled, upcycled, repurposed. That's what we do. This is the recipe I use for slow moving swirls. So it's taking a while to come to trace, even though it's going to be a hot process soap. But in hot process, that basically gives you the ability to make a smooth soap because of the ingredients. You don't have to worry about that rustic look. Although I do like the rustic look, and a lot of people do, but this is going to be a smooth soap. So I want it to have the look of cold process, even though I'm doing it in a hot process method. I'm thinking I want to switch out my switch blender though. Or stick blender. I know what I mean. One second. Okay, I bought the new stick blender because the blade on this one failed, but they use the same parts because they both are Cuisinart. So literally, and this one has 2 speeds. This one speed, 2 speed, but the top is kind of wonky, so I can't get a high, but I can still get it to go. But it connects, so yeah. But the problem with the new one is it has a button. Hold on. Let me show this to you. At first I thought, oh, there's the high-low button, but turns out this is the on and this is the lock. So you have to push this and then hold the both at the same time to stick blend. That's hard on the hands. The high-low is up there. So I know that's a safety feature and all, but it's really annoying, especially if your hands are tired from stick blending hot process. I mean, hot process, when it gets thick or whatever, which is why I have so many stick blenders, can burn out a blender. And I've since had this one repaired. Come to find out, the little spigot in there just need to be tightened. But I don't use it for a hot process because if it fails again with hot soap, you don't want to have to deal with trying to, reattach parts when you're dealing with hot soap. Oh. The high button is working. It's just harder to press. And I just squirted that. Give it a moment. Hot soap splatter is no big deal really because wait 24 hours and it's soap and you don't have to worry about the lye being active and all that. But yeah, the OCD in me, that bothers me just to see it splattered there. So I have to immediately clean that up. Like I said, really nothing to see here. This is all I'm doing. I'm waiting for it to come to trace, which is taking its time about. And then I'll put the top on it and turn the heat down and let it cook till it folds over twice. And at that point, check it every so often until it reaches Vaseline stage, which is a real fun look when it's charcoal because it's translucent, but with it being black, you can't see it's translucent. And I just stood right in front where you can't see. Let me just move this on over here so I could switch to my right hand. Make sure you can see. Yeah. There we go. And it is starting to get thicker, but it hasn't reached trace yet. But this hand was getting a little fatigued. So, yeah. That's a very light trace. But we needed to do that real thick trace. That way we're very sure that all the elements have incorporated. A light trace is good when you're making a swirl and you're going to be working with it further than the trace. Like when you do a soap that you only bring it to emulsification, then you add colors, and then you're blending it more, and then you're, swirling or whatever. So basically it thickens up during the process. But when you're just doing a plain color soap, just go ahead and bring it to a big trace, and that way all you have to do is pour it into your mold or cook it. See, right now is that trace, a light trace. If I was doing cold process, I would just go ahead and pour it in the mold and wait a couple of days for it to set up. But since we're cooking this needs to be done today. So, yeah, we're going to continue. But look how dark that is. That's got all the goodness of activated charcoal. Oh, and because I know someone will ask, let me show you, well, what did I do with it? Let me show you my charcoal. It's by Mad Micas. Come on, focus, focus. And it's activated hardwood charcoal. They do have other types of charcoal, but that's the one I like. And my back is still hurting. I have a doctor's appointment on 29th for the annual thing, so while I'm there, I'm just going to tell them, hey, what can we do about my back? And the phone's ringing. Oh, come on now. Really? Okay, I'm still recording. Apparently, if it goes past the third ring, which is where it's supposed to go to the voicemail, it will discontinue my recording. And since that was on a number that basically I don't answer, it basically was in do not disturb mode, so it kept ringing and the camera reacted even though I didn't hear it ring. Well, it's getting hard to stir. Look at that beautiful color. Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice thick trace now. I want it extra thick. Now it looks like pudding. And the blender's getting hot because basically a thick trace will compromise your blender. But I'm going to go a little bit longer. Soap off the stick blender. And if you ever do this, always disconnect your stick blender from the power source. In other words, disconnect the engine from the blade assembly. The last thing you want is to accidentally hit the button while you're sticking things inside of here. That's like when they say, don't get your fingers near a blender. The first time I heard that, I thought, who would do that? But yeah, there has been incidences where people went to check on something that was in a blender and forgot to turn it off, and you know, life happens. But I'm a klutz, so I would be the one that would do that nonsense. Fortunately, I never have, so. And now we stir by hand. Look at that. That's how dark the soap is going to be. And now we cover it and let it cook. I'm going to turn it down to low and check on it again in 30 minutes. And then stir it and then check on it in another 30 minutes and then stir it, and if necessary I'll turn it up to high. But basically charcoal soap takes about 2 hours. Some hot process soaps, depending on what kind you're using, the ingredients, what kind you're making, that can cook up to 6 hours. I don't think I've cooked a soap past 6 hours. Not even a Castile soap, but that still takes a long time. And with Castile, even if it's hot process, you still have to cure that for like a month, you know. But 100% olive oil soap can actually take up to a year to cure, so a month is no big whoop. But this is going to cook for 2 hours total. So yeah, let's take you over here. Yeah. And for now, I'm going to sign off. So this has been People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. My soaps located purplebutterfly-soaps.myshopify.com, my blog, purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com. Y'all stay blessed and stay tuned. I'm finna go take some pictures of that, finish cooking it, put it in the mold. I may or may not film that part, but basically, when it's charcoal soap, there's nothing to see here. When I cut it, it's just going to be one black soap after another black soap after another black soap. No swirl, no design, just boom. So, yeah, there's that. But it's one of my best sellers, which is why I keep running out of it. The plantains and almond milk, the Anajo black soap, and the charcoal. I mean, this time I didn't even list the charcoal on my Shopify because every time somebody says, hey, you got some charcoal soap, I don't even get to list it because it sells that quickly. But this time someone asked on my Shopify, because it does have a chat window so you could inquire about soaps or whatever. They specifically asked if I had some charcoal, and I said, I will make some. I have some that is a hot process variety, which means, you cook it, you mold it, you let it set, you give it maybe a week, go ahead and package it, and then it's off to the customer. So, yeah. So, this is their soap, or at least 2 bars of it, because that's what they asked for, was 2 bars. So, that means the other 8 slices will be for whoever else, because this one will get listed. So this has been People. Bye now. Stay safe. Stay tuned. Stay amazing. Because God made you that way. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yay. It's in the cook. Yep, yep. Well, it volcanoed. As you could tell, it came all the way up to the top. I stirred it down. That's what it looks like now. But that's also why I soak this batch in the sink. Because, say for instance, I didn't get to the volcano on time and decided to go over the confines of the crock pot, the sink is safe. Everything can go right on down the drain. So, yeah. But, yeah, that's what it's looking like now. And I'll bring you back. Okay, it's been about 2 hours. And I'm going to mold it and then put it in the liner, and we're going to call it done. It's nice and shiny. It went past Vaseline stage, which means it's completely done. See how shiny that is? That's Vaseline stage. So, yeah. But I am going to stir it with every pass, because that way I can make sure it's all cooked. started at 2:40. The current time is 3:53. I was going to say 4 o'clock. This is going to go in here. Now it's higher than the mode, which means it's definitely over 4 ounces. Industry standard is 3 ounces. I always like to put a little extra in there. So I always aim for 4 or more ounces on my soaps. I figure that way, if it evaporates or shrinks, because some soaps will do that depending on the recipe, I still have the proper amount. That's not hard enough to turn on the faucet. In the meantime, I got 20% left on this battery, so yeah. Let's pat that down. Which I have to do very quickly because it's very, very hot. And I'm not trying to burn myself. I have to get it away from the edge of the wood frame, because otherwise that'll make it stick. So it has to be completely within the confines of the silicone liner. And that's what I have. Yeah. And I might trim off the top just so it can be smoother when it's time to cut it, or I might just leave it that way. In the meantime, let's fill up my overflow mode. And then I'm gonna get back to A Million Ways to Die in the West, which is turning out to be a really funny movie. Ironically, it didn't have anything to do with the title much. The edge scraggles do not go into the finished product, so all that rusted look is not going to be in the soap that is for sale. But I don't throw away the edges of the soap. That just becomes a personal art, you know. The scraggles is not aesthetically pleasing to a lot of people. But hey, soap is soap. used to be I would save the end pieces and the scraps for personal use, and then it occurred to me I started making soap for personal use, and then when I started selling it, all I got left over was the end pieces and the scraps, and it's like, let me reverse that. I get first dibs, and then what's left over, that goes to everybody else. So basically I just make enough for me and my customers. Full-size bars, not just scrubbles. So that's the overflow. And I'm scooting it over since, you know, I want it to be a whole bar instead of, oh, this part went that way and this part went that way. You know, in this hot process, you can actually do that. And just press it in. There we go. And it will mold into that exact shape I just gave it. And a couple pieces I missed. You have to take some of the hot soap and smooth it over the scraggles, so that way it doesn't do that separation thing that scraggles do, because basically it's dried and the fresh soap is still hot and wet. So yeah, that's why I do that. In the meantime, go ahead, add some water to that. That's a lot of lather it's got going on. It's done. It's got a lot of lather, and it's charcoal, which makes it really, really good for the skin. And that's going to soak, so that way it cleans itself basically. But basically, since the soap cooks into the edges of the ceramic container, you add water. As soon as it loosens up, wash it and rinse it. So this has been People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. My soaps located at PurpleButterfly-soaps.myshopify.com. My blog, PurpleButterfly-people.blogspot.com. Y'all stay blessed, stay tuned. Bye now. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yeah. Charcoal soap. That's the overflow. And all I gotta do is wash that and we're done.